By the end of this video, I'm going to show you how you can access a level of your mind only 0.4% of humanity gets access to. You will also have a proven roadmap to unlock true energetic success that's everlasting, effortless. And through this process, I'm going to introduce you into simple practices that you can use to surrender limiting beliefs in old, outdated identities that no longer serve your goals. But in order to do this, I want to help you understand about how Dr. Joe Dispenza turned me into a money-making machine. Because through these three simple stories, I'm going to show you my evolution to unlocking these states and how it actually turned me into a version of myself that made success effortless. But I need to introduce you to the one thing that is keeping everyone stuck in a paradigm preventing progress. Now, Dispenza was a major factor in demystifying the mystical, but people struggle to unlock their true potential because they fixate on the messenger as law, not the message, right? Whether it's Joe Dispenza, it's Jesus Christ, it's Napoleon Hill, it's Bob Proctor. Everyone is so fixated on the messenger as law, they miss the lesson. They miss that necessary message that's going to unlock the states of mind you're after. So be wary. As we embark on this journey together, as we embark into this video, I want you to focus on the message, not the messengers. Because if you can extract the true essence of these teachings, you're going to have everything you need to unlock the states you're after. Now, the biggest mistake people are making when trying to manifest more success is they're solely feeding off the material world, right? This is what they use to derive access as a source of creation, right? They're looking at the dollar amount in their bank account. They're looking at the car they drive, the attractiveness of their partner, right? They think their success is reliant upon this external world. Hey guys, this is Grant from the future. And if you want me to help you make sense of all this fun stuff that we're covering in this video, I put together a free masterclass on how you could break down this information in your own life and use the details and the teachings more in depth in ways like I did. So if you want that, click the first link in the description. I'll make sure to get that taken care of for you. Enjoy the video. Now, I'm gonna get into a paradigm shifter to help you understand how that is actually nothing to do with what success truly comes from. Now, we have three teachings that I'm gonna extract the same message from, and we're gonna learn to wipe the messenger from those teachings and start to build in the direction we want to go. Now, the first is seek ye first the kingdom of God. That comes from the Bible, right? We have as above, so below, as within, so without, right? These are esoteric teachings. We've seen it in the Kabbalion. And we also have change your thoughts, change your emotions, and that will start to create your new reality, which is Dr. Joe Dispenza. Now, the paradigm shift. I want to introduce you to a concept, and you guys are going to look this image up as you watch this video, or you can look it up after, but I want you to look up the map of consciousness because Dr. David R. Hawkins dedicated his life to actualizing this map that is able to measure the energetic states of human consciousness, right? So there's only been 3 people to calibrate at the highest level, right? The highest level of pure consciousness of 1000, essentially the frequency of God, of the source, was Jesus Christ, Krishna, and Buddha. Now, a huge majority of the population is below this 200 level right here at around 190, right? So people are operating from a state of force, and we're going to break down what this looks like in the duality of operating from these places. So now we are transitioning into the paradigm shift, and I'm going to start walking you through some actual information that is going to teach you about the energetics behind all the manifestation stuff, right? So if you've been struggling to change your state, if you've been struggling to live from the end, if you're falling victim to old unconscious programs, limiting beliefs, outdated paradigms, if you can understand and internalize this wisdom, you're going to have everything you need to truly transform. Now, I want you to first understand that this is the end of the world of cause and effect, right? We think we do A, which leads to B, which leads to C. That's what the ego wants to think, that it has control. But through mapping consciousness, we understand that consciousness actually operates in attractor patterns, right? So this frequency that you're operating at is actually the thing attracting all of the experiences to you. Now, this is non-linear, right? So not to get too complicated, but I want you to think of how all we have is the present moment, right? So technically, your experience of the present moment is arising spontaneously, right? It is not like premeditated. It is something happening right now. You're watching this video right now. You didn't know you were going to watch it. You just clicked on it. You said, I've seen those red glasses before. I'm going to watch that video, right? It wasn't you woke up at 8 a.m. and you said, at 9 a.m., I'm going to watch this video that Grant just posted, right? That's an old, outdated Newtonian frame of the universe. So we need to first eliminate that mindset, which leads us to attractor patterns. And we're going to start breaking this down, right? So I'm drawing it out in a simple graph. We see A, which makes it look like it led to B, which makes it look like it led to C, but that is like a sequence in reality that we are experiencing something, right? You woke up, you watched the YouTube video, you're like, aha, light bulb moment, right? A, B, C. But the truth is, the frequency that you are at right now is going to be how you experience the content in this video, right? If you're in a state of force, if you're in a state of lack, if you're in an unconscious pattern, you're going to be like, I'm never going to get better from this. No matter what this guy in the red glasses says, he's not going to be able to change me, right? You see how you are going to derive that level of consciousness from this information. But if you're at a higher level, if you're transitioning out of the level of 200, you're moving into states of willingness, states of acceptance. You're like, you know what? He is right. Maybe I was so focused on the messenger when I'm ready to learn the message. Oh my God, this message is making a lot of sense, right? Now, what's so powerful is that these attractor patterns have fields of dominance, right? This essentially means that the higher frequencies make the lower frequencies submit. So someone that's calibrated at level 700, let's just say 750, for example, that was Mahatma Gandhi, right? He's the one that says, be the change you wish to see in the world. That's another one we can throw right here with, as within, so without. Be the change you wish to see in the world. He brought down the entire British Empire without lifting a hand. That's what Dr. David R. Hawkins talks about in his book. Someone that calibrates at this level compensates energetically for 70 million people below the level of 200 on the map of consciousness. Now, below 200 is the state of force, right? This is where you are more selfish in your journey. You're saying, this is all about me. You're consuming the life energy. You're not giving energy to the world around you. You're not affirming life. You're not abundant in your source. This is why things are forceful. You're experiencing resistance. This is why it feels you likely have to chase things, right? This is why success or your dream partner or peace of mind or your dream body might feel like it's fleeting at times, like you'll never be able to get it because you're chasing it. But the flip side of this, when we can move beyond level 200, which is courage, right? The courage to be different. We're saying, hey, I'm willing to overcome myself in order for something better. You start to move closer to states of unity, right? You start to see yourself in others. You start to hold the door open for strangers. You start to give compliments. You start operating from a place of power, right? Power is something that is. It's like gravity. Gravity does not care whether you believe in it or not. That apple will still fall from the tree. But the trick is the ego thinks it's going to be the one that snips the apple from the tree and made it fall. But gravity existed before that moment, right? This is kind of where we can start to understand the energetics, right? That infinite field of potential that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. The Tao, or the source, or the pure consciousness that all these teachings talk about is this energetic state where A, B, and C all exist in one moment. Now, this map of consciousness is all about the calibration of truth. So when you ascend past 200, you go 500, which is love, 540, which is unconditional love. You move up to 700, which is peace. Then you move to level 1000, which is pure consciousness. Those states are no better than any of the others. It's like bricks in a wall. So do not try and be someone you're not. because a brick that is lower on the wall serves the same purpose for a brick that is higher on the wall. But you need to understand that these lower states are not inherently wrong. They're not negative. There's nothing bad about them. These lower states of force just signify the absence of truth, right? If you want to dive into this, I'll link the books, I'll link everything you need to kind of go deeper into this information. But now I want to show you how you can use this in your own life, right? So you need to understand that intention is the source. The intention you do things with is the thing that is calibrating your consciousness, right? That is what we plant in our minds energetically that manifests spontaneously. So let's go back full circle to how can we become more abundant? How can we make more money? How can we unlock success effortlessly? If you're coming from the place of, I want to make more money, that's going to be force, right? So that is the frequency, the lower state of energy that you're calibrating the inner field with. So you will manifest A, B, and C, right? You will probably, A, I'm going to start a business because I want to make money. B, experience some bumps in the road. C, give up. Versus if we come over to a higher state of energy, that energy and intention is, I want to serve others. I want to make their life better because I've had the experience in doing so. From this state, you're going to start the business. You're going to have the challenge, but you're going to overcome it because you want to serve others. You don't care that the money's not there. You just want to do good by others. And in doing so, you will attract those people that are going to work with you. So that is truth. This is falsehood. The falsehood embodies the state of force, or feels like you're chasing things, right? People are going to be able to unconsciously feel the energy, which is why they're going to know that you have a means to an end, which is why people aren't going to do business with you, because their body can feel it. When you quote unquote get a bad vibe for someone, or you're like, something's just off, that's exactly what the map of consciousness is all about. Dr. David R. Hawkins was able to calibrate this truth because our body and our kinesiology is connected to the field of consciousness. So he's done through millions of tests that our body will go weak in the presence of falsehood, which is the absence of truth. So push down on the arm, drop. But truth, when you push down on the arm, it stays up, because in the presence of truth, it makes you stronger. It's life affirming. This is why it is attractive. This is why people can literally do nothing but just be authentic, be who they are, love others, and they're so attractive. I can just snap my fingers right now and say, I want you to think of someone that embodies this trait, that is just effortless, and you're just naturally attracted to them. It's not because they need anything from you. They're not saying, oh, I want Grant to like me. They're just saying, I'm going to treat Grant the same as everyone else, which makes me inherently like them. It comes from pure intention. So now that we've kind of broken down some theory, I want to save you from my mistakes with trying to unlock this energetic ladder, right? If you want to unlock higher states of consciousness that are going to put you in a state of more abundance, more success, more effortless ease, I want to save you from my mistakes, so bear with me. You are going to want to see these three things because it's going to make sense as to why you might have been struggling to transform. Now, I want you to understand this is how you're going to learn to live from the kingdom of God, or live from the end, or experience the elevated emotion first, right? Whatever teaching, it's the message, right? I've stripped this to its core essence. I don't care what messenger you prefer, but this is the message, and I need to tell it through story. So the first business I ever started was called Better Days. It was a mental health brand. And my first instinct was, this is a great opportunity. 2020, everyone just spent all this time inside. I can make money. That is force and falsehood. Now, in that process, I, of course, got struck down from Olympus, let's just say, and learned the lessons. That was the catalyst in my spiritual awakening. That's a YouTube video for another time. But my ABCs, right? My ABCs in that place were, I was a wolf in sheep's clothing. I came off as a mental health brand. I had other intentions to make money. Of course, I wanted to help people, but I put the money first. So It was unsustainable and misaligned, and I went $80,000 in debt. So I had to learn from that. I had to evolve. Now it's time for me to ascend up this map, right? That's when I started my creator agency, where I started to monetize creators. Now, I set out with a true intent. I was like, I'm going to make money. I'm not going to lie about it. But it was still a selfish intent because I was doing it for me. People benefited in the process. My creators did really well. Everyone they sold to did really well, but I was still doing it for me, right? My ABC was, I want to make money. I was honest about it, but I was selfish about it. So I was still in a lower state. I was missing purpose. I didn't understand what success was. I didn't understand what it truly meant. Success is an internal state. It is not the dollar you have in your bank account. It is not the car you drive. It is who you are and how you operate when no one's watching. It is what you do in the dark that puts you in the light. This is the biggest thing people miss. They think that, hey, once I get the money and get the penthouse, people are going to love me. People are going to respect me. No. If you want love and respect, you have to give that to yourself now, right? Respect is saying, I'm not going to eat that piece of cake that has 1,000 calories because I want a six-pack. I want to be healthy. I do not want to have brain fog, right? You are being selfless in that moment because you are putting yourself first. So when you start to take care of yourself, then you're going to have more energy and you're going to be able to become more life affirming. You're going to be able to serve others in this process. Now let's move on to 3, which is what I'm doing right now. So you see my YouTube channel, my Instagram, the business I've created is called Ascension, right? It's not about ascension. It's not about climbing some ladder to some throne. It's about ascension. It's about going within to change yourself. This is me living in my truth. Everything I did led me to this moment. My spiritual awakenings, my failures, the lessons I've learned. It is like I have been being called to this place. This is my fate. That is this ABC. That is the truth. And the intent I have is service. You'll notice I will disappear for 2 weeks and not post a YouTube video. That's because I don't need to do this. I want to do this. And if I'm not feeling like the version of myself that can truly serve you guys, then I'm not going to force it, right? I'm coming from a place of pure love. I want this information to change your life just like it has changed mine. And in order to do so, I need to give you what I know to be true. Now, I'm not taking any credit for this information, and I am not going to be the one that truly transforms your life. It is going to be you, right? It is going to come from that inner state. Now, this is truly my end. This is what puts me in an elevated state. This is what's got me up at 10:20 p.m. filming a YouTube video. I just wrote all this out listening to music. This was all off the dome. I did not look at a single piece of note, except for maybe like 2 things down there. See, I can't even lie to you. I am so blessed. I feel it. Like I feel whole. Like I feel no need to change this moment. So that's how I know that I'm living in a state of power. Because I do not need to change this moment to get what I was looking for. I realized that it all was here. It was all within. It's in those moments in silence where it's just me and the whiteboard and my thoughts and my feelings. And I'm like, this is going to impact someone out there. And it's what's got me burning the late night oil. Now you know why I wear the red light glasses. So I'm not looking at a screen or messing up my circadian rhythm. Now, what does this mean for you, right? How are you going to truly see transformation at the end of this video? My goal is that hopefully you started to feel something change internally by being introduced to truth, because that is kind of what is so powerful about this information, is by merely being exposed to it, you'll feel your inner state shift. So if that's something you experience, let me know in the comments, because it's real. I promise. But the question I want to answer for you, the real $1 million question, is how can you effortlessly align with the ABC that makes X amount of dollars, right? We can put an objective number up there. We all got goals. We all got certain income levels we want to hit. Now, the first thing you're going to need to learn to do is surrender the lower states, right? You're going to need to surrender the lower states of consciousness that keep you stuck in an outdated paradigm, right? Who you are now is not going to be the person that gets you to where you want to go. That does not make sense. This old identity and this new reality. No, I need a new identity, which will give me a new reality and experience, right? It's all about changing the inner world. Most people unconsciously feed the paradigm of scarcity and lack with their thoughts and emotions. Think about it. You probably get triggered by something and those old thoughts and emotions come back in and just keep you stuck in that paradigm, right? You've memorized certain thoughts, you've memorized certain feelings, and it's all you're used to. But that is unconscious, right? So what do we have to do consciously in order to move beyond that unconscious layer, right? Joe Dispenza talks about meditation. Well, what are you learning to do in meditation? You're learning to silence your mind. You're learning to surrender, aka let go of the thoughts and emotions that you're used to. You're literally in a state of nothingness and saying, that thought about the appointment I have at 3 p.m. on Thursday does not serve me right now, so I need to let it go. But if you start to fixate about that future date, that appointment at 3 p.m., you're like, well, I have these goals and I'm not going to be able to go to the gym that day, but it's my priority to get healthy, but I got to go to the doctor and get this checked out. You see how you just get pulled into this realm of duality and it keeps you stuck? You need to surrender the lower states. In order to surrender the lower states, you need to allow the impulse to arise, right? You need to allow these thoughts to come up. You need to allow these emotions to come up. But you must let them pass away. So you need to allow the impulse to arise and pass away. Do not resist them, because it is the resistance. Do not resist them, because it is the resistance that leads to the persistence of the old unconscious paradigm, right? You resist the fact you succumbed to weed again. You resist the fact you ate like shit when you know you should have been doing more for your body. You resist the fact that you chose to watch Love Island instead of working on your business. Guilty. And in doing so, you are putting yourself in a state of judgment. Now, in order to overcome these states, we need to enter a state of self-compassion, a state of self-love. In doing so, yes, we messed up. Yes, we stumbled, but that's okay. Let's keep going. That's part of the journey. Don't worry, everyone does that. You see how powerful that mindset shift is instead of, oh my God, you're terrible. You're never going to get better. That's what creates that persistence. That's what creates that traumatic PTSD where you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to change. The final thing I want to give you is you need to submit to a higher power. I said a higher power. I'm not going to tell you which higher power. Luckily, you can decide that. And in doing so, you will relinquish the ego's fight for control. That is one of the biggest things holding you back, is the ego. And it's not even you. It's a set of programs, literally programmed into your mind and body from experiences, from narratives we get fed through media, from how our parents raised us, from that random kid that bullied us in 4th grade, right? Those are things that randomly come up, right? So that's why I'm saying you have to allow that impulse to arise and pass away, because it doesn't exist. If I said, just take a moment right here, right now with me, you feel that nothingness, you feel that stillness, that's the present moment. Billy from 4th grade does not exist right now. He is not a threat. So what if you had McDonald's yesterday? That does not exist right now. It is not a threat. It is something to be surrendered, and you're supposed to give yourself compassion in that journey. Now, the final hack to answer the real $1 million question, right? I titled this video, How Joe Dispenza Turned Me Into a Money-Making Machine, but clearly it's got really nothing to do with that. So I know what you want, but if you truly want that, I have to give you what you need. This is what you need. This is the truth. If you want true energetic success, not just success on paper, because that is a big thing I've noticed about the people I work with. On paper, very successful, but behind the scenes, eating like shit, drinking, smoking, chasing all these external things because inside they're feeling a void. They're like, Grant, I need to get off of this treadmill. I need to start prioritizing my relationship with my wife and my kids better. Yes, I've done $10 million a month in volume, but, right? That's the question every successful person asks themselves. What does it all mean? Now, the biggest conclusion a lot of people come to when they start working with me is success is something that's internal. I'm giving you the equation right now to true energetic success. So the first thing is you're going to need a holistic approach and way of life that enhances you and others, right? So if we come back to changing your inner state, let's look at the traits of someone that is successful. They get up early because they didn't stay up late doom scrolling, and they didn't eat crap late at night at 11:30 when they shouldn't. They had a healthy meal at 8. They started to unwind at 9, were asleep by 10, which means their body naturally wanted to wake up at 5, 6. They get up at 5, 6. They don't need to check their phone because they feel so calm and peaceful in that state right now. They're like, I'm going to go outside, get some sunlight on me, read a book, read the Bible, journal, whatever your higher power is. Learn to connect, be present in that state. Then you're going to have your coffee, get your morning routine taken care of, maybe hit the gym, maybe get straight to work. But just throughout the day, think about how that sets the tone versus someone that wakes up at 10 a.m. and they got high the night before and they ate like shit. They have so much judgment when they wake up. They're doing anything in their power to find any type of pleasure that numbs themselves and alleviates them and gives them temporary access to the higher states of consciousness. Addiction is a story for another time. So if you want me to dive more into that, let's do it. Because it all has to do with this. It all has to do with this. Once you realize consciousness is the backbone of everything, you're going to be like, all right, maybe a lot of the things they told me were outdated. Now, next point. The truly successful realize they are a channel acted through to create success in the outer world. Literally right now, I've been yapping for how long? 27 minutes. When this video is over, I could not tell you what came out of my mouth. That's why I put this information down, because I want to make sure I'm giving you the things that are actually going to change your life. But in the process, what comes out of my mouth, I just feel like a channel. It just flows. I realize like my art is my word. I'm a 3 life path. Clearly, I'm a communicator. But this is where I feel present. This is where words just endlessly flow and I do not need to force them. It is my natural state. I can take the waves wherever they need to go. I can feel the change in the energy. You need to find what makes you feel like that, right? Truly successful people realize they are a channel that are being acted through. So once you figure out what your channel is, through sitting in stillness, you're going to be able to create success in the outer world. All the lessons I learned through here led me to this moment. I literally get paid to talk. Now, that is to synthesize information and provide transformation, but that's my intent. I want to serve others. I want to take this complex information and spend 30 minutes just chatting with you, being like, hey, it's not that crazy. This is actually your natural God-given right ability. We do not need to overcomplicate it. Let's slow down and realize like, hey, if we can change the inner world, if we can go from I want to make money to I want to serve others doing something I love because I realize I have gifts that turn me into a channel for this divine elevated state to come through me, life starts to become a lot more magical. You're going to find this inner sense of peace and joy and confidence because you're living to the fullest. You're not living to some ABC that the external world told you you need to live to. Now, in order to capitalize on this, I want you to realize that these successful people identify with sources, right? So they identify with something within. They identify with the fact that they have a stillness routine that cultivates their peace of mind. So the things they do throughout the day are only going to be aligned with that peace of mind. It arises from that state. Now, you can kind of slow down and humble yourself and realize like we don't really have control over the cause and effect. Like, yes, I'm using linear words to describe non-linear states. To be honest, I'm probably not even calibrated that high. I'm just a 25-year-old kid in my red light glasses, doing my thing, loving what I do. But I know that this is true because I can feel it in my being. And I want to bestow that upon you. Identify with sources, not the effect, right? That was the big thing I warned you about in the beginning. People are so fixated on the external world. They're fixated on that external messenger, not the message about going within. When you go within, you might have to face a few demons, but you're going to realize like, oh my God, that like divine state is within me. It's coming out of me. That peace is actually something I experience internally. Once you experience that, you're going to be like, oh my God, I need nothing else. Then you start to emanate that. Needing nothing attracts everything. We're going to keep going. I promise the whiteboard videos are only going to get better. I'm doing what I love. I'm not really creating to like fit like a mold. Like I literally got inspired immediately and sat down at the whiteboard and I said, hey, I'm already in this state, so I'm going to create this video because the energy just comes through that way. And I hope you guys are getting something from this. The final point is you need to realize that successful people have inner power. They do not lack. They're not coming from a state of force. What does this mean? Inner power is they have no fear of loss because they know they can get it back. I went $80,000 in debt. I was like, I could focus on the $80,000 I lost, or I can focus on that $1.7 million I'm about to make in my creator business because I am the source. That's how powerful this information is. I want you to realize that if you can unlock this, if you can truly surrender the lower states and start to align yourself with higher level intentions, deep diving into this information, you're going to realize, you know what? Whatever I do touch turns to gold. So ladies and gentlemen, if you like this new whiteboard style, if you like me dumping it out first and just keeping myself in that flow state where I can talk and share this information and truly serve you, drop a like, subscribe, even comment what you want to see next, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.